चैनल पे नहीं कर रहा।
हाँ ओके प्रेजेंटेशन नहीं तो जस्ट इन केस ओके
स्वागत करतो. 16व्या वित्त आयोगाचे चेअरमन श्री अरविंद पनगढ यांनी मेंबर डॉक्टर मनोज पांडाजी, डॉक्टर सोमकांती घोष मेंबर, ऋतिक पांडे सेक्रेटरी आणि राहुल जैन जॉईंट सेक्रेटरी हे पत्रकार परिषदेला आता संबोधित करतील. फक्त एक सूचना अशी आहे की पत्रकार परिषदेमध्ये चेअरमन साहेब ब्रीफ करतील, त्याच्यानंतर केवळ 2 ते 4 प्रश्न आपल्याला विचारण्याची मुभा असेल आणि कार्यक्रम नंतर संपेल. थँक्यू.
Good afternoon. Forgive me, I'm going to speak in English. Questions I can take in Hindi also, but I'm sorry I don't speak Marathi, so if you would forgive me for that. Okay, so what I'm going to do is take some 15 minutes or so. First explain to you what the Finance Commission does, because a lot of the confusion arises because of misunderstandings about what Finance Commission does and what it does not do. Then I'll talk a little bit about where we stand in terms of our work, and then I'll spend a good bit of time explaining our meeting today with the Honorable Chief Minister and his there were the 2 Deputy Chief Ministers also there, but other cabinet members, and of course the staff. So that is how I'm going to summarize for you, and then we'll take about 3 or 4 questions. So first of all, under the Constitution, the President of India appoints roughly every 5 years the Finance Commission. We are therefore the 16th Finance Commission. The mandate to the Finance Commissions constitutionally is to make recommendations to the President on how the Union finances tax revenues, not finances, tax revenues should be divided between the Union and the 28 states together. That is called the vertical devolution. Then whatever is the share of the states, how that should be divided among the 28 states. So that's called horizontal devolution. Then the Constitution also provides now for grants in aid to the local rural bodies and local urban bodies. Urban local bodies, ULBs, and rural local bodies, RLBs. These grants come from the Consolidated Fund of India, meaning therefore from the budget of the central government. These are not coming from this divisible pool. There are also grants to be that the Commission is asked to recommend on disaster relief. Finally, commissions have sometimes given state-specific grants and sector-specific grants. So all grants come from the Consolidated Fund of India, meaning the budget of the central government. So whereas really what comes through devolution is really states' money, the other money, grants that come are actually centre's money. Now, over the years, the commissions have made different recommendations On vertical, so latest one on vertical devolution was the 15th, which recommended that 41% should go to the states and remaining 59% to the center. There's been a long history, so which I will skip, but that has been currently that's where we are. There is a very strong kind of undercurrent of over the different finance commissions of making these, particularly the horizontal devolution, progressive. So initially, if you go back to first 5 or 6 commissions, most of the devolution was based on population, which meant that on a per capita basis, every state got equal amount of money. Broadly, there was a little small sum which was based on the level of development, but largely, it was population, so everybody got equal. After, I think, starting with the 7th, there came a very large, the component which tried to make it more progressive, meaning give a bit more to the states that are poorer and less to the ones that are richer, was introduced. And that particularly, with starting with the 9th Finance Commission, 9th, 10th, maybe it was, 9th, 10th, 11th, and then onwards, this criterion, particularly relating to the progressivity, has acquired more and more momentum. And it has also now gotten very standardized that a measure which is called the income distance measure, that you take the per capita income of the richest state and from that subtract out the per capita income of the given state, and that determines the weight that is assigned to per capita devolution. And so poorer you are, the greater the distance, and therefore the larger the share based on that. So for the last 5 commissions, almost 45% or more of the divisible pool has been devolved, or more of the share of the states in the divisible pool has been devolved based on that criteria. This richer states have been raising voice. You can think of these are obvious states like Maharashtra, Gujarat, Haryana on this part side. Then in the south you have Telangana, Karnataka, Tamil Nadu, etc., who have been saying that performance should count for something also. So that is an issue in front of the commission as well, one of the important ones. Our commission traditionally, conventionally, does a lot of consultation, and that is a very long drawn exercise. As a part of the consultation process, we visit every single state. So we are now in our 25th state. We started soon after the parliamentary elections in June of 2024, and so we've been doing maybe roughly one state in 10 days on average. So we are 25th now. 3 more to go: Jharkhand, Uttarakhand, and Uttar Pradesh. Those are the 3 that would remain after Maharashtra, and then rest of the time we will devote to writing our report. Well, both discussing how to go about it, making all the decisions, and then writing the report. The deadline for us is October 31st, and unlike many of the past commissions, I have no plans whatsoever to extend that date. So I hope and I plan to very much deliver our report to the President by at that deadline. Let me see what else I need to cover. So consultation-wise, so it's not the states are not the only ones, but We also consult very extensively with the central ministries. We have also gone out to consult with the experts. So we did, regional. So we divided the country into 5 regions. For South, we went to Vizag, and from the 5 southern states, we had experts from. Generally, these are economists with different universities and so forth. So they came. We went to Jaipur for Western region. We went to Rajgir in Bihar for the Eastern region, and Northern region we did in Delhi itself, and we did the Northeast in Meghalaya. So we also consulted with all the finance, for last 4 finance commissions, chairmen and any members if they were available. Anybody can give us suggestions. We have a website where you can go in, and there is a link that allows you to leave any suggestions you have. The commission then checks, commission staff checks it very regularly. So that's that. Last thing, very quickly, our discussions today with the Maharashtra government, right? I think that's probably the portion which is most relevant, and whatever I've told you is by your background. So we had a very long and detailed presentation by the government of Maharashtra, where they laid out first the overall picture of Maharashtra in terms of GDP, per capita GDP, population, where Maharashtra stands relative to India, etc. Then some of the social indicators and all. But then the big chunk of the presentation has to do with the Maharashtra finances. So about on taxes, meaning on revenues, on expenditures, fiscal deficit, debt, etc. Maharashtra turns out to be one of the few states which is run very conservatively, in the sense that the debt to GDP ratio of Maharashtra turns out to be like around 20% or so, which is significantly lower than most other, or even the average of the states. Many states have about 30% or more of debt to GDP ratio. Also, the fiscal deficits are relatively low in Maharashtra. Generally speaking, Maharashtra has been very much within the borrowing limit that the central government lays out for the states, less than 3%. Up to 3%, and there is another 0.5% that is allowed provided some conditions are met. But Maharashtra has generally remained below 3% in its borrowing. So Maharashtra finances in this sense are quite in good shape. On vertical devolution, Maharashtra government suggested that, and this is more or less along the lines of most other states, not everyone, but most other states have said, and Maharashtra also says that on vertical devolution we should increase the share of the states from the current 41% to 50%. On horizontal, Maharashtra very much emphasized that performance ought to be given a lot greater importance than in the past. And this is, as I said, we are hearing from other richer states also, Gujarat, Haryana, Tamil Nadu, Karnataka, Telangana, Kerala. So generally, the richer states, better performing states have made the pitch that greater importance or greater weight be given to the performance. So I think this is probably of most interest, likely to be most interest to you. What I will do then on horizontal devolution, I'll tell you how the 15th Finance Commission devolved to the states and what is the recommendation of the Maharashtra government. Okay, so the way 15th Finance Commission did, for example, it gave a 15% weight to population. What that means is that you take the full divisible pool, the union taxes that are to be divided, between the states and the central government. You take 41% of that, which is what was the share of the states according to the 15th Finance Commission. That share of the states, they said, take 15% of that share, divided as per the share of each state in the population. So if Maharashtra, let's say, has I'm just 9% share in the population, then Maharashtra, within that 15% of the 41% of the divisible pool, Maharashtra gets 9%. Okay? So each state gets like that. The second criterion that 15th Finance Commission used was area, and that was also 15%. So there, what you again look at is what is Maharashtra's share in the area of the country, and based on that share, you give that much to Maharashtra in the 15% of the 41% of the divisible pool. Okay, so that is how this is done. So when I say weight, population was given a weight of 15%, means 15% of the divisible of the 41% of the divisible pool was divided according to the population share. Right. So now I'll read out much faster. Population 15%, 15th Finance Commission, area 15%, forest and ecology, that was 10%. So there you look at what is the share of any given state, let's say of Maharashtra, in the total area under forest, and then you divide it according to that area. So that 10% weight was given to forest and ecology. Income distance, that is as I said earlier, that has emerged as a very important criterion. That was 45%. Okay. Then you have demographic performance. This is about total fertility rate. So the lower the total fertility rate, the larger the share awarded. With the 15th, this was a new criterion. TFR had never been used before. 15th for the first time used TFR. And the argument it gave why it used TFR was because 15th had been asked based on it, but on the terms of reference, the terms of reference that the President gave the 15th Finance Commission. Under that, 15th had been instructed that for population, it should use the 2011 census. Now every other Finance Commission before that had been using 1971 census. And as you must all know, between 1971 and 2011 there was a lot of shift in population, where the share shifted much more in favor of countries such as Bihar, Uttar Pradesh, Rajasthan, etc., where population continued to grow faster. Whereas in the other states, Maharashtra, Gujarat, Haryana, Tamil Nadu, Kerala, Karnataka, etc., the richer states generally, the population growth had slowed down. And so the sudden shift from 71 to 2011 census was going to shift the population shares in a big way in favor of the generally states with lower per capita income and against the states with higher per capita income. So to compensate for that, the 15th said that we'll also use TFR, because TFR fell more, right? TFR is moving in the opposite direction. And so it introduced TFR, 12.5% was the weight assigned. Then tax and fiscal effort. So this is given for the tax effort being made by the state. And tax effort generally gets measured by the tax to GSTP ratio, tax to state GDP ratio, that determines the tax effort, that how much revenue per rupee of output is the state collecting. The greater the effort, more revenue you will generate, you will collect per rupee of output. or per lakh rupees worth of output, and so that was given an importance. There was 2.5% was the weight. So all these together sum to 100. Now I come to what Maharashtra has suggested, and I'll give you the comparative weights of 15th as we go again. So on population, you'll recall 15th had 15% weight. Maharashtra suggested 20%, but with a twist. This is an interesting suggestion. So far we have got this suggestion only from Maharashtra, but it is an interesting one. Maharashtra says that, look, do 10% based on the share in rural population and 10% based on the share in urban population. Okay, so it's not quite the same thing as the overall population share, right? So there's a little bit of a twist there. Obviously, you can see that Maharashtra being more urbanized than other states, that part of the devolution that it says should be based on urban share in the urban population favors Maharashtra, right? Then on forest cover, it says take it to 10% first area. So area, it says 15%, which was also the weight assigned by the 15th Finance Commission, so that's unchanged. On forest cover, Maharashtra's suggestion is that you put 10% instead of, it's the same, 10% was also the weight for the 15th, so that's unchanged also. Then Maharashtra has also introduced a new criterion called sustainable development and green energy, and that is 2.5%. Income distance, Maharashtra says reduce it to 37.5%. So it's suggesting a cut in the weight relative to the 15th of 7.5%. 15th was 45%. Maharashtra's recommendation is 37.5%. On demographic performance, TFR, it reduces the weight to 10% compared to 12.5% by the 15th Finance Commission. Then Maharashtra has suggested a new variable, which has been suggested by a few other states. It's a new nevertheless because no past Finance Commission has used this particular criterion, which is the state's incremental contribution to India's GDP. So, if India's GDP, let's say, rises by 100, what part of that 100 came from Maharashtra, what part came from Uttar Pradesh, what came from Bihar, that will then determine, in this case, the share of the state. So, weight assigned by Maharashtra to this criterion is 2.5%, meaning that 2.5% of the state share should be divided according to this criterion. And last one, tax effort, it keeps at 2.5%, which is the same as was the case with the 15th. So that's the main set of recommendations, but then there were some suggestions also on local body grants and some suggestions on disaster relief. Then Maharashtra also made a pitch for several state-specific grants for specific projects. One of the big ones that they put on the table is the Niti Aayog has prepared a development plan for MMR, Maharashtra Municipal Region, and it put in that some of the funds required for about, I think, 50,000 crore is the suggestion, is the recommendation of the state that be given by the Finance Commission as a part of its recommendations. There's other projects as well in there for the development of different parts of the state. So that is the overall discussion. We can now take all three questions.
So what is?
Can you introduce yourself?
So I am Faisal Malik from Hindustan Times.
Yes.
I wanted to know what are your views on the recommendations made by the state government.
Yeah. So I should have said this actually. I can't tell you. My views are irrelevant in a way because the commission consists of 4 members and me, so there are 5 members of the commission. Ultimately, the decision is made jointly by the 5. Sometimes there may be differences of views, and if a member who differs from the other, or member or members who differ from the majority want to write in a dissent, they can do that, and there has been some history of dissents having been submitted. But what the commission will do, I cannot answer because I do not know what the commission will do. What I can say is that everything is on the table. We are very much open to all suggestions, and we recognize that there is some legitimacy to the demands that performance also be given some consideration. Whether or not such consideration will be given will depend on where the view of the commission comes out.
So, this is Sanjay Zook from INS. So, 2 questions, as you rightly said.
You introduced yourself also.
Sanjay Zook from an Indo-Asian News Service and News Agency.
Okay.
So, 2 questions. One is you talked about again this performing states, and couple of rich states are demanding that 41% will be increased to 50, as in case of Maharashtra, of course, the 50%. But while going that, again the Maharashtra is definitely into a lot of problems. Like there has been a cash crunch, the debt has been rising to almost 9.27 crore. Then the fiscal deficit is almost 1.40 lakh crore. Amidst that, as you rightly said, even though Maharashtra is run conservatively, you feel say in the midst of this election, these PDs are being distributed. This almost now 1,40,000 crore PDs are given. So within this context, how do you see Maharashtra representation? Is there any scope? Because there has been a couple of other states which are also going in for the previes. Within this context, how do you see these demands are definitely worthy to be considered?
Well, how the state chooses to spend its funds, those become states' decisions. We have to, as the commission, assess what we consider to be legitimate good expenditures and sources of revenues. Based on that, we'll have to make up our minds and come to some decisions. But this is all I can tell you. So this is again what you're asking in a roundabout way is that what is the commission's view, and commission doesn't have a view yet. So I can't So I mean you're actually wasting your questions. by asking what will not be answered, what cannot be answered. So you will be making much better use of your 3 or 4 questions. You have already fired 2 empties. Yes, please. Okay. So first on what are the states? Certainly I remember that Tamil Nadu was one of those states. I think Gujarat was also. Now this criterion can be done in 2 different forms. Maharashtra is specifically said only the incremental, right? But it turns out actually there's not a big difference. You can also implement it in terms of the actual contribution. So what percentage of GDP is contributed by Maharashtra? What percentage is contributed by Telangana? Like that. So in both forms the states are made. So Tamil Nadu, Gujarat, I don't know, maybe Telangana may have Haryana also. So Haryana also. So those are, I think, the main. Even you can predict more or less. You can predict actually which states would do that. I mean, for example, Bihar has not asked for it, or UP has not asked for it. But UP we haven't gone yet, so I don't know what UP's stance is going to be. But those are the states. Into the other projects. Interlinking of rivers, yeah, that's another.
Bandra Court, sir. Bandra Court.
Bandra Court, okay.
Copy of memorandum.
Bombay High Court.
Hostel.
Then there is one for hostel requirement of the postgraduate medical students.
Prison upgradation.
Prison upgradation. New Bombay High Court complex. Economic master plan for MMR growth that I have already stated to you. I think those are the main ones.
So this is just that MMR, what the media talked about that increasing the GDP to $300 billion
Yes.
from the present 140. The same you are talking about.
Yes.
That
This is the one. This is the one, and I think wasn't there number by 2047 it could go up to about 1.5 trillion.
Yeah.
This is the one. Yes. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
All right.
We'll go straight to the next one.